Right, welcome back, everyone. Connectingdots2 here. We are Tuesday, June 28th, 2016. Okay, man, these scammers just never end, and that's why I'm making the video. Number one, to point it out that he's lying, twisting the stories again, and to remind you that while I'm going on my own expedition for life, yeah, because we need somebody that's going to actually do some real reporting out there. It's very sad here, the scams that we have on YouTube, but it seems very few are willing to speak out against it. And unfortunately, as I said that before, as more and more of you wake up and realize that these guys are fraudsters, one of the big problem is on my camp is that many of you just lose interest and don't want to watch it anymore. So it's very hard for me to try and keep many of you all on this side of the camp here so we can wake up the rest of the people. But it's sad. It's just like, and I totally get it too. You know, you thought something was real, you got involved with it, you had your passion was all geared up, and then all of a sudden I come in there, and just cut that umbilical cord, and you just lost interest so quickly. It's sad, but I'm going to try and keep my videos entertaining as well as informative, because that's the biggest thing. I'm not out here for entertainment. I'm out here to try and inform people. Okay, so in the latest rendition here, and I'll get back into this expedition for life. It's something I spoke about a little while back. I went down to the beach here just a month ago. I'm going to go down to another section of the beach, something where I went in somewhere where I went in summer of 2014. And I'll go down and videotape that beach. And then very shortly here, folks, I'm actually off to the debateless cowards, or one of the debateless cowards, because Kevin Blanch is an absolute debateless coward also. And it's oddly enough, it's what he happens to say in one of his latest videos, that he's calling the scientist coward, when in fact, he's the big coward. So I'm going up to Dana Durnford's beach right in Powell River. I've made some contacts there, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun as I go down and film the shoreline right on his own coast, and people will see just how close the truth was. But again, it's about them hiding the truth, concealing it, lying, and so let's jump right in. And I don't want to really jump right in, like, honestly. You see the stuff that this guy wears, you hear the stuff that comes out of his mouth, and it's exactly what we have been saying all the time. Kevin Blanch is being paid by the nuclear industry to go out there and look like a total jackass, to make it look like people that are part of the anti-nuclear sector are a bunch of yahoos like himself, and especially like the lies that he says, flat out lies about the AML, cancer, and all that, it just discredits him even further. People are not stupid. And then when he does this kind of shit show, I mean, this is the entertainment part that a lot of you unfortunately like. And I mean that unfortunately, because it'd be different if Kevin was actually doing constructive things and trying to unite the anti-movement and not scamming people out of their life savings. You know, and I've said that before. Jeff Palco's mother, his biological mother, Mary Palco. Are you listening, Kevin? He doesn't listen anymore. I've left messages on his comments. I tried phoning him. He's an absolute scammer. Mary Palco, Jeff Palco's mother, his biological mother, has been waiting for Kevin to call her since 2014. He won't call her. She wants her son's money back. They ripped them off for $18,500. That was not a donation. That was a short-term investment. We got Jeff Palco's own words where in the end, Kevin wouldn't even answer his phone calls, and Jeff he given up any hope of ever getting his money, which is what I was saying, folks. You know, I was talking to Jeff Palco one-on-one here 2 months before he took his life. Last time I spoke to him was roughly about 20 days before he took his life. He took his life in December 24th of 2014, Christmas Eve. I spoke to him, I believe it was December 1st or December 3rd, where I called him. And I've said that before, that even on the phone, I could tell that he was depressed. He was sad. He'd been scammed out of Dana Durnford, scammed him for about $25,000, never provided any proof, no radiation sample test results at all. But yet he donated about $25,000 to that con artist. He knew he couldn't get that money back because it was a donation. But in Kevin Blanch's story, it was a different scenario. We even have videos coming from Kevin Blanch himself, where he openly admits that he took the $18,500 that Jeff Palco had sent him in 2014. And if you saw my videos, I actually have the checks. I have the email that was sent to Kevin Blanch from Jeff Palco, where Jeff is asking him, hey, Kevin, what happened to my $18,500? I want to know what's happening with my money. And in the end, like I said, Jeff uploaded his own videos before he took his life to let everyone know that he'd been scammed out of his life savings. It's sad. So they can hide behind the glasses. They can act like a fool, but you know, they won't engage. They won't debate. They won't even call Mary Palco back. So in this latest video, as you can see, he just opened up this his own video, and of course I gave it a thumbs down. As I said, if you're going to come out here and watch this shit, make sure you give him a thumbs down at least. You know, do you really think 67 people have given this video a thumbs up? Obviously not. If you've been around YouTube long enough, you know, for you to only get 500 views, 67 thumbs up, you have to have some type of incredible news. Well, are all his subscribers dumb and don't like click on any of the stories or listen to any of the garbage that comes out of his mouth? So obviously he's listening to my videos, because I said the other day, I said, he won't speak about how nuclear power can be clean. And so now he's coming out. I was like, nuclear power is clean, right? Yeah, it is. And I know some of you are going to say, well, no, his latest story. Here's his latest story. I went and grabbed his own garbage, okay? And he promotes RT News. And then I'll get into that, how I've called out RT News. They're part of the New World Order. I've been saying that for years now. And now we have actually, we have video proof that it is here to subvert the American government. So in the story that he promoted on his YouTube channel, he's talking about the sheen. Oh, it's not radiation, it's oil. And he does mention that, by the way, okay? He does say, oh yeah, big, huge oil leak. Well, as you can see, it's not. There's just a couple of streaks, a couple of little streaks here. So what ended up happening is they don't really know where it comes from. So Kevin's jump on the bandwagon. It's radiation, it's radiation, it's radiation. Nuclear plants are dangerous. He doesn't even know where the fuck the oil comes from. He has no clue where that oil sheen came from. Maybe it is from an oil plant. We don't know. I mean, from the nuclear plant, we know it's not obviously nuclear radiation, but there is an oil sheen, and it's just a temporary safety zone that they've extended 2 miles in each direction from the center of the shiny substance. And the crew, I've been saying, let's do some tests. Well, they've taken some samples, Kevin. Oh, Kevin's like, oh shit, no, they took samples. Oh no. Oh yeah. Okay, so that's one of them debunked. I mean, it's sad here that we have the crazy man, and one of the things someone said is he's opening up his own YouTube channels. Yes, he has. He's opened up 2 latest YouTube channels. What was it? There's that hippie with the gun guy I was talking about. Oh, they're not in here yet because this video is new, but they'll be out here later on. So he's got 2 other two that I know of that he's publicly using to leave comments to himself. Comments to himself. Yeah. Anyways, long story short, and this is RT News' website. Okay, their story. And I'm going to show you very quickly that you can go watch this video if you want. I don't care. I make these videos for people that want to get informed. The rest of you that don't want to get informed, you can all go to hell as far as I'm concerned. Honestly, I do not have time for people anymore that are stuck in that box and don't want to look on the outside to see what else is going on. So if you're stuck on stupid, or whatever you may call it, if you're stuck in that paradigm and it works for you and you don't want to look beyond, but then don't watch my videos. They're going to be too much for you, and do not follow the links, because I'm here to connect the dots on this shit. I do it on the economic stuff. I do it on Fukushima and at the RT News. Many of us in the conspiracy world were calling them out way back in what, 2010, I think, is when I started coming down on RT News. I mean, I didn't even know fully how bad it is as it is now, because this is the latest video, as you can see here. I uploaded this 6 months ago, where we actually have Adam Kokesh, who comes out and speaks up front And no, he's not joking. He's joking in the beginning when he's talking about he's been hired by, he's Obama's new czar. He was joking about that. But then you go watch the rest of that 3-minute video and you get to hear him look at the camera, no smile. He's up front. He's saying, I am paid here by the Russian government to subvert the American government. I'm not going to go over the entire thing, but that was enough for me. I already knew, like I said, from 2010 that the New World Order was RT News. Many people haven't caught on to that. To each their own at their own time. Here's your opportunity for you to wake up and go listen to Adam Kokesh, who actually has his own show, like many of the others here, these scammers. I've been saying that for years. The Alex Jones, the James Corbett, Adam Kokesh, Max Keiser, all promoted on RT News. It all goes back to RT News. Same with the fraud. As far as Fukushima fraud, Kevin Blanch, you may recall how RT News had who? Radchick. I should do this search just for a moment, just so you people are like, oh, shit, I didn't know that. Well, this is how it works. So Radchick is the other scammer that hangs out with Kevin Blanch. We have her back in, well, I can't remember what year it was. Again, 2012, I guess, 2013. Her and Kevin Blanch are together. And let's just see if we can get the Radchick here exposure. So here she is right here, Christina Consolo, and she's on RT News right here. Like I said, RT News comes out and picks these Freemason frauds, okay? She's probably with the girl clan of the Freemasons, which I can't even remember the names here because I've been told a couple of times they're different names, and I just stick with the Freemasons. The women are just, they don't have as much of an impact in the Freemason society as the Freemasons themselves. So let's just cut this here, and we're going to put this RT News first, and then I'll put our Radchick because I know she's been on RT News quite a few times. Well, son of a gun, isn't that odd here, eh? I had no problem finding interviews with her. There's that same one as I was speaking a while ago. But she's been on RT News a couple of times. Oh, Wide Awake News, okay. Like I said, most of the, like Stéphane Molyneux and his radio show, frauds, man. They're scammers. That's why Peter Schiff is promoted with them, right? It's interconnected. Okay, maybe if we put Christina Consolo. That's her. Here she is with another radio show, the Freemason frauds, and here she is with the rest of the some more frauds here. Leuren Moret. I'm not sure if you folks know her. Okay, I can't find any more videos of her, so here she is here, just so you get a good look at her. Okay, from Michigan, USA. People leave area fearing for their health as contamination spikes. I was making videos every single day, sometimes twice a day, and I had no problem getting 2,000 views within the first, 12 hours, not even 24 hours, my Fukushima videos. It wouldn't be unusual, 24 hours later for my videos back when Fukushima first went off, for them to have 10,000 views. It was not unusual. So I always question, why is it that I was following every single Fukushima story that was coming down when the initial meltdown, and yet RT News went and picked Christina Consolo? And I'm not jealous, by the way, because I've had probably about 10, 15 requests to be interviewed by none of the mainstream guys, all independent radio and newspapers that asked me to be interviewed back in 2011. I'm not jealous. My point is, why is it that they promote these fraudsters? And I've mentioned that before, that Christina Consolo back in 2011 was the same girl that came out and said that Fukushima radiation had fallen in the rain on her arm, on her daughter's arm, when she lived out in Michigan here back in 2011, and that the radiation was so high that it burned third-degree burns on her daughter's arm. Well, we all know that's an absolute lie here, okay? It was an absolute scam. So here she is with Charlie McGraw, Wide Awake Radio. It's the same fraud, guys. I'm telling you straight up. You keep remembering these people and how they all interconnect. It's one of the big things many of us have woken up here on YouTube, and I'm speaking about people that stick around and do this for a while like I do, okay? Zoom in here. What is that again? I can't even see the name of that radio show, but it's the same girl. Okay, and here she is again with the other fraudsters here. Leuren, Moret, and Dr. James Fetzer. It's the same fraud. It's the same scammers that won't debate. Christina, I'll debate you anytime. Leuren, Moret, anytime. Dr. James Fetzer, bring it on. I'm used to arguing with doctors, and I usually always win those debates because you guys have been sucked into the bullshit, and it's easy for us guys to see through the bullshit. So let's go on with some other stories here because I kind of got off track here. So Adam Kokesh, the video is right there. That's why I said it's guillotine time for Adam Kokesh and all RT Russian agents, because he refers to himself as a Russian agent paid by the Russian government. These are not my words. These are his words. I hope you wake up and go find out your own information. Okay, so the next one, again, with his flailing arms, I mean, it never ends with this guy, right? He's the flailer. Okay, so the flailer guy here, he took off his glasses. Again, it's another video. And again, it's just sad. Oh, they're eating the cute little sea otters, and they're starving. The sharks, they're starving. And the scientists, what are they? The scientists are coward. Well, in fact, we know it's Kevin Blanch is the coward, and the scientists aren't baffled or mystified because the sharks aren't starving, because Kevin Blanch is again taking a news story and twisting the bejesus out of it. Okay, and I went and pulled out the stories for those of you that don't believe me. Here it is right here. Sharks are killing sea otters in California, but not eating them. Kevin, did you read that part? Not eating them, Kevin. I thought you said they were starving, Kevin. Oh, I didn't know. I was just trying to pull the bull. Well, no bullshit here. People are going to see it for themselves. And here's the part that the scientists are a little baffled about is they can't figure out why they're not eating them. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit of that story here. But it talks about the scientists in California have been left perplexed by a wave of fatal shark attacks on sea otters, despite the fact that the predators have no interest in actually feeding on their furry victims. Talking to National Geographic, Tim Tinker of the U.S. Geological Survey's Western Ecological Research Center explained that as far as we can tell, a white shark has never eaten a sea otter. And whenever a deadly attack takes place, we always get the whole animal back. They're talking about the sea otter, okay? While the odd shark taking out its aggression on another animal probably wouldn't arouse too much confusion, the number of otters currently being massacred by California sharks is skyrocketing at a baffling sharp pace. According to Tinker, shark-bitten animals now account for more than half of the otter carcasses we find and exceeds all other sources of deaths combined. So, Kevin, the sea otters aren't starving. The sharks aren't starving. What is out of the ordinary is why the sharks are increasing the amount of tax towards the otters. So if you're going to report a story, Kevin, at least have the decency to report it properly, and don't tell people again all the time the sharks are starving and it's Fukushima radiation. We're so sick of it, Kevin. Kevin, are you paying attention? No, I got to keep my scam up. What do you think? So it goes on to say, as a consequence, the sea otter populations in parts, not all over Canada, have taken a hit, leading to concern about conservationists. Okay, among conservationists, researchers are able to discern the cause of death from the fact that the bite marks on the otters' bodies match with those of a white shark's, while several have also been found with teeth lodged in their fur and flesh. However, since the animals are little more than oversized hairballs, offering very little nutrition to the predators, researchers are stumped as to why local sharks seem to have taken up this murderous fad. So that's what's going on, Kevin. It's a murderous fad. It's not about sharks starving. Please, Kevin. And by the way, folks, if you want some real good stories, I got a couple of good ones coming up here. Okay, and actually some good stories too, you know. not all depressing. So one theory is that the sharks are simply mistaking otters for more nutritional prey like seals and sea lions, which are packed with calorific blubber. And only after biting them, however, do the sharks realize their mistake and therefore leave their hairy leftovers to simply float away, dead. However, while this theory, which is also used to explain most shark attacks on humans, may well hold water, Tinker insists that we can't be sure that the real reason behind this phenomenon, saying the truth is we're in the deep. I just don't know land. The second part of the mystery concerns why such a sudden increase in shark attacks on otters is being observed right now. One potential explanation could be that successful conservation in recent years has led to increase in both the white sharks and otter populations. Kevin saying, shit, man, you weren't supposed to read the damn article. Connecting dots, stop it. Stop it, man. You're ruining it. I hope so, Kevin, because that is what the people have said in my latest comment, my latest video on you, folks. If you haven't seen that one, okay, this one right here, Fukushima News, Kevin Blanch, San Onofre, Nuclear Lies and Fraud. Okay, that's the room there where he had his checkup. As I said, the only video we have of Kevin ever being in the hospital during this whole time that he went through the chemotherapy and all that bullshit, absolute lies. He never lost weight. He never got any gum disease. He never had any, not a single one of the symptoms related to AML cancer. Okay, lethargic, lack of energy, none of those problems, okay? Shortness of breath, bleeding gums, go read it. He's got none of those. He's never even lost the weight. He's never even got pale. I mean, go watch the video, get yourself informed. And one of the comments there, the person was asked, how can we stop this fraudster? We can't. We have to keep listening to his bullshit, and guys like me have to keep making the videos, so when you people come across his bullshit, they'll be able to look it up and get informed on it, okay? That's the only way we're going to deal with that. Okay, so yeah, both the white sharks and the otter population, making encounters between the two more likely. An alternative theory, however, is that climate change is driving sharks further north, leading to increasing excursions into otters' habitat. So, Kevin, do you know about the, well, they call it the climate change, but Kevin, I'm sure you saw my video a couple of days ago, or I should say a month ago. When was that, folks? Does anybody remember this one? Right here. Connecting dots to Fukushima versus the Pacific blob. Kevin, please go watch the video. Get yourself informed, get yourself educated on this. It's very important that you understand that this whole phenomenon that took place over the Pacific is most likely still here again this year. I haven't done any research in the last month on this whole thing, but last I heard it was kind of heating up again. And you have the proof, the scientists that are already talking about this. And Kevin said, I never saw any of that. Well, I got some stories here for you, Kevin, okay? Okay, another story here. This is fresh off the press, June 28, 2016. Fresh off the press here out of the University of Guelph in Ontario. It talks about the pipelines affect health and the fitness of salmon. That's what the study finds here, okay? It says that the pipelines carrying crude oil to parts in British Columbia may spell bad news for salmon, according to a University Guelph-led study here. Yeah, it turns out that exposure to oil sand products, diluted bitumen, impairs the swimming ability and changes the heart structures of young salmon. That's what the new research shows. So oddly enough here, we already have a pipeline that stretches from Edmonton all the way to Burnaby, BC. Okay, that's right here on the coast here, Burnaby, BC. And now with this new expansion, it would double the volume of oil sand products reaching the Pacific coast. It's just one of several Trans-Canada pipelines on the NEB's review list. Okay, folks, we have a problem here. We have a problem with the Freemasons. We have a problem with the elitists. We have a problem all the way up to the Queen, the royals, the Saudi royals, the dictators, how they don't want to let us go onto free energy. So I've said that before, and I don't want to get into it right now, but I took over 2.5 years of electronics, and at one point I learned how to rewire electrical engines. And during that 2 year, that 2-week chapter on rewiring electrical engines is when I found out that all electrical engines have it's called an electromagnetic field, and it's essentially the wrapping of all those copper wires in an electrical engine, and then adding electricity to it. It creates an electromagnetic field. So I told my teacher back then, I raised up my hand, interrupted his rant, and I said, you know, why are we doing all of this? We don't need any of the copper wires. We can create free energy simply with the information that you shared. What my newfound information I had already connected the dots and figured out, you know what, we don't need to wrap no copper wires. I can take regular earth magnets. And now I've discovered a little bit more than that. I'm talking about back when I was 15 years old. This is where I was speaking about these earth magnets. Now it's the electrical magnets that we would have to do this idea with. But essentially we could use earth magnets, put them in a certain configuration, and I would reproduce the exact same electromagnetic field. So we don't have free power. And many of you have heard of Tesla and his ideas. You know, someone even said you stole that idea from Tesla. No, sorry, I'm 50 years old. I thought of this idea when I was 15 years old. I didn't even know who Tesla was. I didn't find out about Tesla until I took my electrical course and the name came up. Okay, Kirchhoff's law, Tesla. Other than that, Ohm's law, these are all great scientists. My course wasn't fixated on Tesla's discoveries. In fact, I never really knew a whole lot about Tesla until I started researching conspiracies in the year 2007. So no, at 15 years old, I did not steal Tesla's idea. This idea came to me when the whole concept of an electromagnetic field was explained to me in my electrical course. So we have a problem with the pipelines. The fish are dying. We have the other dumbass who's going to lie to you and won't even talk to you about how nuclear plants can be safe if we run thorium. Did you guys get that? And I'm going to spell this out because I'm sure some of his some of his subscribers are watching my videos. They hate me, but whatever. Grow up, man. Come on, get real. Get yourself educated. Stop being a stupid dumbass. Get yourself informed. The stuff they don't want you to know, the thorium. Okay, we can have clean nuclear plants that are safe. Absolutely 100% safe. It's thorium. Get it through your thick skull. Go get yourself educated. Okay. Now, here's another news story fresh off the press. Tuesday, June 28, 2016, Canada's fish stocks in danger of collapse without federal action. The report says, Kevin Blanch says, see, I told you it's going to collapse. Okay, Kevin, give it up, guy. Okay, so this one here talks about how a grim story of serial depletion of fish stocks, lack of accurate information about fisheries, overfishing, Kevin, and poor management is documented in a new study on the state of Canada's fisheries. Okay, and it goes on to say here how that less than 1/4 of Canadian fish stocks are considered healthy, and the status of 45% of the stocks couldn't be determined due to the absence of basic current information. So this one here talks about too many boats, too few fish. Since the 1970s, the biomass of Canadian marine stocks have declined by 55%, although more money is being made from the seafood industry than ever before. With $6 billion in exports in 2015, the value is concentrated in a few species. They're talking about Canada here, okay? Such as the Atlantic shellfish, which accounts about 77% of the country's seafood value, okay? The Atlantic shellfish. The lack of diversification is not sustainable, says the report. This is important because I have friends in the fishing industry, and this is exactly what they're talking about. And as I mentioned, I live right here on the West Coast, so I'm glad I found this story and I'm sharing it with you because this is exactly what they were talking about. They're saying we're not diversified, and the fact that we do this type of concentrated fishing, well, they were saying that a lot of times when they're out, let's say, just strictly fishing for salmon or whitefish or whatever it may be, just a concentrated fish, okay? The problem is they catch many other types of species of fish. Guess what they do with those fish? They kick them back in the water. Do you think they treat them with love and care while they're kicking them? No, literally, sometimes they literally kick them back into the water. So many of the guys in the fishing industry are already aware that this throwback ends up dying. So they're not doing the ocean a favor by doing the concentrated fishing. Hope that makes a lot of sense to you, because it sure as hell made a whole lot of sense to me when they explained it to me. So the report says here, predicting that the lack of recovery strategies for failing stocks and inadequate legislation made worse by the weakening of the Fisheries Act under the reformed Conservative government, stock collapses are likely unless, remember, there are likely, they're not haven't collapsed yet, are likely unless action is taken quickly. Canada is falling short of the progress made by most developed nations in fulfilling national and international commitments to sustain marine biodiversity, wrote Jeffrey Hutchins, chair of the Royal Society of Canada expert panel on sustaining Canada's marine biodiversity. So yeah, that's one of the biggest problems here. We have more nets in the water than ever before, and these nets are mostly most of the fishermen in Canada, that's how we operate. It's concentrated fishing. Okay, you can't catch the other fish, and you can't go back to port with those other fish. You're to release them back into the ocean. Well, unfortunately, when you've been dragged up from the ocean hundreds of feet down, whatever, when you come back, when you make it back, I'm speaking about these other fish that don't belong in the concentrated net. When they make it back up to the ocean, and they're kicked back into the ocean because they're not the right species, most of the time they just don't survive. That's why the guy says there's so many seagulls and marine fish that hang around the fishing boats, because they know in Canada we're going to be kicking all those fish back in. It's not like another country. Well, they'll take those other species back to the shoreline and get some cash for them, okay? So, yeah, most of the depletion has happened with the span of a single lifetime, beginning with the post-Second World War, increasing in the number of fishing vessels combined with the advances in technology killing power. It's a story of too many boats chasing too many fish, of destructive gear, and an enormous waste. Please remember that, because this is what my friends have told me. Enormous waste in the fishing, the type of fishing that we do. We no longer have diversified. It's concentrated, and concentrated fishing, like I said, everything else that doesn't belong in the net gets kicked back into the ocean. Crab, fish, it doesn't matter. They don't take it back to shore, okay? So yeah, that's the problem we have here, and it's the mismanagement. Okay, so I got I got two stories here. They're actually, it's a good news, honestly. So this story here, as you can see, Tuesday, June 28th, this is a fresh story, fresh off the press. I'll share it with you here. You can see a blue whale entangled in fishing gear off the coast of California. Sad story, but the crews are trying to save a blue whale entangled in fishing gear off the coast of California. Generally, blue whales do not swim close to shoreline, so cases of entanglement are rare. He's got his pole down there, trying to pull up some net, I imagine. This is the second reported incident of a blue whale entangled off the west coast in just 2 years. The first confirmed blue whale entanglement on the west coast was reported last September. Here's the good one. U.S. West Coast entanglements. Yeah. They've gotten higher. Now, you may recall, I believe that part of the reason why this is higher is, if you watch my videos, I shared with you how there's actually a boom. The whales are doing exceptionally well here. In fact, it was this story here, if I'm not mistaken. I'll get back to that in a second. First, I want to go to this one here, where, oh, did I read all of that? Yes, I did read all of that one. So this one is, how much of the ocean is whale pee or worse? So this one's from June 25th, 2016. And you may recall it was this one here, the Pacific whale poop saving the planet. If you remember that one, well, this kind of correlates with the exact same scenario, except this time it's not poo, it's pee. So the story says here, if you enjoy swimming, snorkeling, surfing, or scuba diving in the ocean, at some point you may have wondered how much of what you were floating in originated in the body of a marine mammal. Yeah, the ocean is home to millions of known species, about 2.2 million, according to a study published in August 2011, which translates into untold numbers of creatures, large and small, from microscopic zooplankton to enormous marine mammals that weigh hundreds of thousands of pounds. However, the ocean isn't just their home; it's also their toilet. It may be a little daunting to contemplate the vast quantities of waste expelled into seawater every day, but the ocean's various sea creatures. But urine and feces are also nutrient-rich reinvestments, which is what I was sharing with you folks from that story from 2014, how the boom in the whale population in the West Coast here, they were back up to the same populations as they were when they first started taking numbers, which were back in the 1950s. So yeah, 2014, a boost in the whales, and I was sharing you how the University of Seattle had found they were tracking the whale poo, and turns out that the increase of number of whales in the Pacific Ocean was actually helping the Pacific overall because the amount of poo. And that's exactly what it talks about this in this story here, that it says that it's maintaining the overall health of the ocean ecosystems and playing an important role in supporting food webs. So they say this is particularly true for as far as whales are concerned. That's why I shared that story here, because this is what they found in 2014. The Pacific whale poop was actually stimulating life in the Pacific Ocean. So they said that it's not easy here to measure just how much a whale excretes in a day. But they said that what they've done is they were looking at the figures from other large marine mammals such as seals and dolphins, which are kept in captivity, and measuring how much they expel to try and figure out, just how much these bigger ones. So according to a study published in 2003 here, that they talked about the sei whales. Now, if you don't remember that sei whale, oddly enough, that was the same whale here that did I already make a story on that sei whale? Let's just see here. I thought maybe I'd put it as the title. So let's just see here, because this is the group of whales that had washed up along the Pacific. No, it's not the same one. It's the same ones that had washed up along the shoreline in. Okay, it was this one here. So if you go watch that one, I spoke about the whales, and the sei whales are the ones that washed up off the coast of Chile. Okay. And oddly enough, I was saying back then, guys, these sei whales, okay, they can measure up to 60 feet and they weigh up to 100,000 pounds. So it's not a small whale. And it turns out that they live deep in the ocean. I thought this story, I read this earlier here. I thought for sure they said something about the fact that they live deep in the ocean, but they don't say that. They go on to say that they estimated daily urine of about 166 gallons here. And how this a fin whale can grow up to 85 feet long and weigh up to 160,000 pounds, and it produces about 250 gallons of urine in one day. So yeah, nutrient plumes. Whale poop, on the other hand, is somewhat easier to spot in the water and is simpler to sample, a feat typically accomplished by plankton nets. Roman said. He explained that the whales tend to relieve themselves at the surface before deep feeding dives, releasing massive fecal clouds known as nutrient plumes, which have distinctive color and a strong smell, no doubt. It's energetically expensive to dive, says Roman, so they shut down a lot of their internal organs when they dive to become feeding machines. So when they come to the surface, that's where they digest, and that's where they release their urine and their feces. So next time you jump in the ocean, got to look around and wonder, are you swimming in a nutrient plume? And if that water is a little warmer in that one spot where you're swimming, well, guess what? You could be swimming in a little bit of ocean whale pee. Hopefully not, but that's a possibility, if you know what I mean, if you ever swam and someone beside you released. Okay, so that's the show for now, and hope you're getting informed on this, and you're going to stay away from these people making these claims that sharks are starving. This is what I've been saying all along. Everything these frauds try to accumulate is always trying to pass it off as Fukushima news. You know, even when the oil story takes place, he can't even report that one half properly. So yeah, please keep informed. And I'll remind you again, if you can afford it, only if you can afford it, I'm going on that expedition for life. I'm going up to Dana's Beach. I'm going to try and travel the exact 200 kilometers that he traveled back in 2014. When he came back, he said he'd spent 9 days. He traveled 200 kilometers along the Sunshine Coast in British Columbia, Canada, and came back and told everyone that everything was dead. He couldn't see any birds, no birds for 9 days. Oh boy, wait till you see the birds that I'm going to catch out there. You folks are going to be shocked. I live right here on the ocean. I'm about 8 minutes away. I sleep by the ocean, not literally, but you know what I mean? About an 8-minute walk, you may as well say I'm by the ocean more than just about any other YouTuber. In fact, one of the things I said is when I go up to Dana Durnford's beach, I'm actually going to leave from it because he lives in a trailer park, so I can't go right to his address. I'll leave from the street, the entrance into the trailer park on that street, and I'll drive down so you folks can see just how close Dana lives to the beach. He could have been up front with everyone and gave you guys a real expedition for life. He could have done it right along his own shoreline. So when I go down there, you'll be excited. You get to see the number of birds. You'll get to see all the sea life. You know, another claim, he said that he spent 9 days there in 2014 doing this 200-day trek, and he says he couldn't find any flies. Well, actually, he said he found some flies, but he says all the flies that he came across during his 9-day tour would fit in one 8-ounce glass. Folks, there are so many flies, bugs, ducks, you name it. You'll just be shocked. I'm going to try and have a good time on there because, you know, it's a little it's depressing when I know that Jeff Palco and many others have donated their money towards this. They'll never get that money back. So I hope you understand that that's part of the reason behind that. Other than that, I have no reason to go up to Dana Durnford's Powell River town. The only reason I'm going there is just to make the video on his shoreline and retravel that same 200-kilometer beach on the Sunshine Coast so you folks can see it for yourself, how he lied about the bugs, he lied about the weeds, he lied about the birds, lied about the ducks. Everyone's going to be shocked, but you know, what can I say? I'll try and make it fun, and hopefully by the time I'm done that trek, most of you will have realized these people are absolute frauds. So I'll see you later. Have a great day, and stay tuned.